breaking news that we are getting on the broadcast, and this concerns the issue of same-sex marriages, the plea that is before the apex court of the country. And now we are told that the NCPCR has moved to the Supreme Court, opposing the pleas, seeking legal recognition for same-sex marriages. NCPCR has filed an application to be impleaded in the petitions. It has said that children raised by same-sex parents may have limited exposure to traditional gender. My colleague Ananya is joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, that seems to be a very peculiar plea that the NCPCR has presented before the apex court of the country. It's of course now on to the court to decide how they choose to deal with the matter. But there's so many pleas now opposing this entire granting of legal recognition to same-sex marriages.
Well, definitely, Griha. This is the response coming in from the NCPCR, wherein the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights has actually knocked the doors of the Supreme Court to actually get impleaded into this particular matter. Because remember that the NCPCR has a very, very major role when it comes to adoption and taking care of children. And that's the reason why the NCPCR has now knocked the doors of the Supreme Court, opposing, these petitions that are seeking a legal recognition to the same-sex marriages. Now, what the NCPCR says is that, children who are raised by same-sex couples would have no interaction or would have no knowledge about the traditional genders, and they would not be able to know the gender roles and the gender identities properly, is what the NCPCR says. It says, and that could affect the Article 14 of the Constitution. It could affect the equality, and that's the reason why, in fact, granting legal recognition to same-sex marriage is something that is not possible, and the NCPCR side should be heard, and that's the reason why it has impleaded in the matter. Now, it becomes very, very peculiar because not only the NCPCR but the MP government, the central government has also, filed an application before the Supreme Court seeking, that petitions challenging and seeking a legal recognition to the same-sex marriages are not maintainable in nature. And first, the maintainability of these petitions has to be decided,
yes,
and then only can the matter actually proceed on with. And remember, this is happening just on the eve of this particular important hearing. And if you remember, that Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud headed 5 judges bench, would be hearing the matter tomorrow.
Yes.
And it is the Chief Justice of India's bench, 3 judges bench which had said that the matter is of seminal importance, and had sent the matter to a constitution bench, which was to start the hearing in the matter tomorrow. So what happens tomorrow is something that we can expect fireworks from the Supreme Court of India when this matter actually comes up for hearing before the constitution bench.
Absolutely. And Ananya, this point that you just touched upon, this has also brought in that age-old debate about legislature versus judiciary. Now that there is an opposition that is coming in from the legislature saying that this issue needs to be decided within the parliament. When we're looking at that and these various pleas opposing the legalizing of same-sex marriages in the country, where do you see this issue going? And are there people from the LGBTQIA community who are weighing in on all the controversy that's surrounding on this matter?
Well, this has been the stand of the central government, not only before the Supreme Court, but also before the Delhi High Court. If you remember that the matters were first before the Delhi High Court, but the same were transferred before the topmost court of the country via a transfer petition. And there also in the Delhi High Court, the central government had categorically stated that, this is a matter that needs to be decided by the parliament. This is a matter which is in the domain of the legislature, and the Supreme Court actually cannot do anything into it because it is not under the domain of the judiciary. And it is for the legislature to actually decide or to make laws upon the same. And a very, very important point that before the Delhi High Court the centre had raised was that in order to grant a legal recognition to the same-sex marriages, various personal laws would also have to be studied. So it is a similar position that the government had actually taken in view of the Uniform Civil Code as well, that, where there are various civil personal laws, including the law of Sharia, the law that govern the Hindu Marriages Act, and that's the reason why all of these have to be studied, and then only a decision can be taken. Remember, the central government has not opposed has not said that the same-sex marriages are unlawful, but
yes,
they've said that we cannot grant a legal recognition to the same, but we're also not calling it unlawful. And very, very categorically, the central government has maintained its stand since the very beginning, whether it's the Delhi High Court or the Supreme Court, that, this is against the social ethos of the country. This is against, against the family concept of India, wherein there is a biological
yes,
man, a biological woman, and their children. So definitely this is the stand that has also been taken by the MP government in its petition as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ananya. So after various personal law boards, now the NCPCR has weighed in into this entire matter of legalizing same-sex marriages in India, and they have put an opposing plea before the apex court of the country.